Hello, Farah.
So tell us a bit about yourself.
A bit about myself. I'd say, say that I'm quite as a person who has a lot of ideas, and I can be pretty philosophical when I want to, but most of the time I'm more of a very strict routine sort of person. I guess one thing that I would say about myself is that I'm very self-aware. So when I'm doing something, I realize, oh God, I'm actually causing some trouble for that person, or I'm aware that someone's actually doing something because they have some ulterior motives. So being aware is something that bugs me a lot because it just messes up with what I think, and all the thoughts come to my head at the end. Yeah, that's around that's about it for now.
Can you tell us your average day? What is your average day like?
My average day, yes, the question everyone asks. So every morning waking up at 7 a.m. and 7 a.m. for work. You go to the news, read some BBC, read some CNBC news, business news. That's my current routine, but back then I didn't do that at all. So I just only started because of my girlfriend, who pushes me a lot for that. So once that's done, do my usual routine, go to the toilet. Not going to go into detail on that, but after all that's done, go to work and come back at 4:30 p.m. and then the routine begins. I do my dissertation, or at least do something productive until 7 p.m. and at 7 p.m. sharp, I start cooking dinner. And at 7 p.m. sharp, every dinner consists of the same thing: rice, peas, and eggs. As you can see, carbohydrates, protein, and vegetables. So that's less than 1 pound. And something I like to mention about my day as well is that I'm on a 5 pound a day budget. So that sort of the same dinner every day fixes that. And after dinner, I just usually shower. Usually I'll be watching a movie while eating dinner. Series, The Office, a nice show. And then go to sleep, and that's it. At 11 p.m. Yes.
And then repeat.
And repeat the next day, unless it's a weekend, in which case I will not work, but I'll still eat dinner at 7 p.m.
What do you do on weekends?
When I'm in Pembroke, I go out to the beach usually, and I just found that there was some wild garlic, and I just sometimes pluck it out and put it in my pan to fry it. Sometimes I try doing different things. Like recently I tried drawing and sketching, but I think I stopped that for a while. Yeah, I stopped that for a while. Weekends are my time to discover new things. Music.
What are your interests in general?
I'm not sure actually. I thought I had a fixed interest like science, reading physics and biology and evolution, but sometimes I realize now I'm getting a bit bored of that and I'm moving towards something else, so it's like not always fixed. Now currently in my weekends, I guess I try searching for music, anything new music that I like. Just be productive learning some coding or nailing a new language. Yeah, currently that's current interest.
So you're quite an accomplished person by the standards of many.
Right.
Can you tell us a bit about how you started the Linguistic Society at the University of Manchester, for example?
Well, it all started when I was in A-levels back in Malaysia. I guess when I was in school, in fact, back then in high school before A-levels, I was given a lot of high positions, but the problem is that I was mostly chosen by teachers, so I was like a teacher's pet then. I felt no power. Sort of people are telling me to do things, I'm a puppet there, and I was chosen over another more capable student because I was easy to manipulate, basically, and they just tell me to do things. I just listen like a little puppy. But so in A-levels, I thought I want to do something myself. I really had this idea of having a language society, and I'll be fantasizing. I always have fantasies when I do stuff. Like if I'm doing linguistic society, I'll imagine myself, oh, I'm fluent in 30 languages, and I'm going around with a suit. I'm from the Linguistic Society, and things like that. It just sort of motivates me when I think of the best case scenario, which is unlikely. And after that, but A-levels didn't really work out. So in uni, I thought, okay, if it's not now, it's never. So I just started it myself, and in A-levels, I found a mistake where I tried asking my friends, but none of them were interested, so I was not interested at the end. So now I just decided I'm going to do it myself, regardless of what people say. And I just call some of my uni friends because I need some buffer people to be the secretary and treasurer. And at the end, it actually turned out quite well. I was quite amazed with it. It didn't end up to be the expectation that I'm going to learn 30 languages, not even one language to be fair. But it was really fun. It was like the best thing ever. And I'm really glad of that.
Why languages?
Why languages? It's a silly thing. It's not something it's not something in when I was really young. Oh, I saw a linguist or something, But I just watched this movie, Thor, the Marvel movie, and there was one point I think that Thor just came to Earth for the first time, and there was this big circle there. I can't remember what's that thing called. I'm not sure. Do you watch Thor? No, but he just came in this big circle thing, and there was like a bunch of writings in that Asgardian language, and then they were like, one guy in the suit was like, call someone from linguistics, and it was like, oh, if only I was there, like coming in the suit. Yes, I'm from linguistics, thank you. And yeah, so that sort of brought my idea to that, and I think language is something everyone likes anyway, and so that was the interest there. I think it was also the viability of it. I just felt like if I did this, I'll get more likely to be a success than if I, let's say, do a chemical engineering society. So that was also the practical side of it. Yeah, that's about it.
Would you say you're quite a practical person?
I am a practical person. I say I'm fixed to my routine. So as I said, everything is make sure I get all the nutrients, sleep early, drink water, like a robot basically. But sometimes, as I say, I was really aware of all these things that I'm doing. That's why I see, for example, Ivana, my girlfriend. She's someone that I really admire because she's always so flexible, someone who is creative, and I strive to be someone like that. And that's the people that I really look up to. And yeah, sorry, practical. Yeah, I tend to make sure everything has an end goal. I meet the goal at the end, small little goals, and just be productive every time. So, and it must make sense. That's what I mean by practicality.
Tell us a bit about baby Eugene.
I guess I was in this private school in Malaysia, and I was in the same school from primary and secondary school, which is quite rare in Malaysia, in fact. I guess I was more of a quiet. The first 3 years, I guess I was a bit of a bully. I sort of going around playing practical pranks. I remember one time I just put glue on the paper, putting it on someone's chair. So that was quite mean, and my mom gave me a big scolding on it. But yeah, that was like after that 3rd year, I was really talkative, noisy and everything. But after that 3rd year, after getting repeatedly punished, after that I got to suddenly a quiet stage where I just always took a step back, feeling awkward every time. I think that's when my self-awareness kicked in, like, oh my god, I'm being so awkward right now. And you just stop talking. I think that's one problem about kids. Like, you shouldn't, there should be a limit, because every time they face obstacles, at some point they will just break down and not want to do it anymore because they face too much obstacles, really. But yeah, that's when I think 10, 11 years old, that's when I was a bit quiet after that, being awkward, quiet. And I prefer solo conversations. Like, I don't really like going into big groups, for example, because it's a bit difficult for me. Unless I'm like a leader of society, for example, that felt a bit great. I think if you have a leadership position, it's a different thing, as long as you're not a teacher's pet. But I like one-on-one conversation because it's more quiet, and I feel easily betrayed if, let's say we have a group and I'm talking to you and suddenly you talk to another person and I was like, oh, you betrayed me. I do feel things like that very clearly. So I'm very sensitive in terms of that, which is, yeah, that's, I guess, a big weakness, I'd say.
If you could give baby Eugene a piece of advice, what would you tell him?
Just
with what you know now
do
about
what
yourself?
Because I feel like if I told him something, I will never get to the place that I am now. So in a way, I wouldn't want to tell him anything, just let him live his life. But if I'm interested to see a different path, I'd probably tell him to just do anything, just be your crazy self again. But of course, have some awareness of how people feel. Do things, because the most memorable things, in my opinion, is things that you push yourself out of the comfort zone. If I did something, for example, I just went up to a random stranger and said, hi, how are you? Even if it's not a praise, for example, I just remember that for the rest of my life because it's something out of my comfort zone. Yeah.
What was the last thing that you did that was out of your comfort zone?
Last thing I did that was out of my comfort zone is most likely at work. Well, I think in the office I just went and asked, can I come with you because a colleague of mine likes to go to the beach and I don't have a car, you see, and in Pembroke it's almost impossible to go around without a car. Just asked her, can I join you for going to the beach, and Yeah, it was a great day. I just went out in the beach and it's nice, and something I wouldn't do usually. I mean, I would love to go to the beach, but asking someone out, I don't like asking people for favors, so that's out of my comfort zone. Yeah.
Okay, what does success mean to you?
What does success mean to me? Well, it's changed over the times. I guess in my baby Eugene phases, like you were saying, I was orientated more towards my parents' views. Success is someone who has a job, has a good qualification, has a degree, traditional Asian thinking, I guess, I would say. But yeah, that's what I would believe all this while. Like let's say you see someone on the street, oh, he's not studying. And if he didn't go to university, for example, that's someone that is not successful back then. But I guess coming here, just meeting different people, I guess that's the main thing. You start to see success in different ways. And I think success is depending on how mature your attitude is. That's my perspective. I think the best example was when I was in Pembroke. I would consider myself successful in terms of my mother's point of view, where I get a job, good degree, good marks. But I met this one person in Pembroke. He makes guitars out of boxes. So let's say you have a box, he makes a guitar out of it, and it's really cool. And he goes traveling around. He's going to France now to work as a construction worker. I mean, he didn't even go to high school or something. But he was much more mature than most of the people I've ever talked to. He's very humble. He met a lot of people. I think these people are what I call successful people. It's how they treat other people. That's my opinion.
Okay, so you talked a lot about feelings and being aware of yourself and feelings of other people.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a world with feelings or without feelings? This is Harry's favorite question.
Have a world with feelings. That's a very philosophical question, and theoretically I would like that question, but this is hard. I think one philosophy of mine is that there shouldn't be any extremes. Like, you shouldn't have a world fully on feelings. Neither should you have a world fully without feelings. There's a lot of movies on a world without feelings nowadays, showing how robotic the whole society is and how people, the defectors have feelings and they run away for a better life. Feelings make us different from animals, people always say, I guess, but animals have feelings too. It's a hard question, to be honest. I'm not giving you a very straight answer, I'm sorry.
There is no straight answer to it, I think.
So it's just sort of my opinion, I'm guessing. I like feelings. It motivates me. I think societies with no feelings will not progress much further than they will. That's why I think I like places like these, art galleries. Art galleries, even though you come there, I don't appreciate art too much usually. I mean, I come there and see the pictures, oh, that's beautiful, but I don't go into detail. What happened during that time? I know it depends on how people perceive art, I guess, but for me, I just come here, I love the ambience, and sometimes I see, oh, that's a nice painting, I wish I could do that too, and it sort of motivates you. Or sometimes you just stand there and start thinking things completely different from art, and you just think, oh, if only I was that famous. Or I mean, the simple things like that just gets you visioning in the future. If you're just looking narrow-mindedly, you're never going to proceed, and that's my opinion. So feelings are very important for progress in the long run. Yeah.
Something else I wanted to ask you was, so you mentioned how you're on a £5 budget per day, and I know that you're quite frugal. Would you like to tell us a bit more about that?
Sorry, can you repeat? £5 budget, after that, what did you say?
And then would you like to tell us more about that and why you're doing that and what you want to get out of it?
I'd say it's not because I'm poor or anything, because I mean, I would say, people always think, am I that poor that I'm on a £5 budget, or am I that type? But I would say my family is well to do, but I just feel bad using my parents' money all the time because they're spending so much on my university. So I want to minimize that to as much as I can. And in the start of the day, I didn't have this £5 budget. All I did was a budgeting, which is tracking how much I'm spending and just looking, well, that I shouldn't be spending on that and things like that. Buying the cheapest things that are still healthy. And I think eventually I sort of saw that £5 seems like a good number to stop at because I can still survive. And I say £5, I don't mean like I include the rent, and the rent, of course, is not included in the £5. It's just living costs. But I think it's a good way to sort of discipline myself in a young age. I repeatedly keep telling myself, if I'm older, I'm just going to be more free. And that's why I feel like I'm gradually increasing my spending now. In fact, I'm starting because of all the health trends. You shouldn't eat peas every day, for example, because you should have diverse amount of veggies apparently. So I just realized, okay, I must eat bananas and stuff. That increases your spending, increases your standard of living, and it's not too bad actually. One thing that one philosophy of mine, I guess, is that when I start off poor, when I start off living in hardship in the future, I'll appreciate all the things much more better, and that's what sort of motivates me. But obviously, there are times where I just felt, this is going to keep going. I tell myself I'm going to be relaxed in the future, but I'm never going to be relaxed in the future. But no one can tell the future, I think. Yeah.
If you had a superpower, what would you have?
If I had a superpower, I guess I want to have the ability to go anywhere instantly, because I think one thing, I imagine myself if I was a world hero, I save everyone, and then the United Nations come to me and say, what would you like as a gift? I'll be saying, I want a world citizenship. That means I can go to any country for free. I can work in any country for free. Because right now, for example, if I want to get a job in the UK, it's just so difficult, all the challenges faced with it. And I'm thinking, even if I want to work in the UK, I may not want to work in the UK in the future. I want to go Scandinavia, or maybe France, or maybe US, or China, or wherever. But every single time I'll face with the obstacle where they are protecting their own people, and it's going to be so hard to. So I want this world passport that allows me to go anywhere. So superpower-wise, I guess, transportation that allows me to go anywhere instantly. A teleportation device. It's my superpower.
I liked how you turned the superpower into something practical as well.
Yeah.
Very grounded in.
Yeah. Shows that I thought quite detailedly into that.
Who would you be if you could be anyone?
Who would I be if I could be anyone? The thing for me is that I don't really have idols. You could call me a really, what do you call it? There's a term for that. A person that does not like, a jealous person, I'd say. Every time, let's say I see Isaac Newton, he's an amazing guy, but I'd be like, oh, he thought of the idea before me. Just stuff like that, so I get jealous easily of. But I feel like they're competitive, sorry, not jealous, but. So that's why when I learn new theories or whatever, I don't remember the names of people, and it's like, I just want to know the knowledge. So it's hard, that's a hard question to think about. Who I want to be in this world. Just someone with freedom to go anywhere, to do anything. I always thought I don't want to be, money doesn't mean everything, but nowadays you can start seeing the money actually starts getting you places, travel a lot. Now everything is restricted on money, that's a sad truth. I don't have a fixed answer for that, I'm sorry.
You don't have to.
Okay.
That was your answer.
Okay. Let's say I'll be myself. Because, yeah, that's another thing as well, because the fact that I'm facing hardships, the fact that I'm struggling for all these things, makes it all the more wonderful if I get it. If I was born rich, I was born in their position, I'm not going to appreciate it. I'll just, whatever they eat now, I don't know, if they have, like, let's say a bowl of pizza, for me that's above my 5-pound budget, so that's like something amazing for me. So I'll be appreciate. They would not appreciate that. I'll appreciate that so much more. So yeah, I'll be myself, I guess.
So you talk a lot about the future.
Yes.
Would you rather travel to the past or travel to the future if you had a
If I had a choice,
choice?
will I be able to change anything?
It's up to you. You tell us.
If I were able to change, I don't want to see the future. That's the, I know I repeatedly tell myself, tell my God, for example, I'll be like, God, please tell me I'm going to be here in the future or stuff. Like, especially when I'm applying for jobs, for example, I'll be like, oh, please God, tell me I'm going to be in this place, because if I'm in that place, that means I got the job. So please tell me I'm going to be in that place. And after like a few minutes, because when I first got into that emotions, I'll be really, I'm not thinking straight, but after a while, I'll start being more reasonable. I'll be like, okay, God, forget what I said actually. I mean, sorry for insulting you. Sometimes I do curse even, so, which is quite bad. I'll be like, sorry, please forgive me for what I said. And I'll just live with myself and stuff like that, that's fine. But so if anything, I'll just go back to the past to relive it. Because there's a hard, I think when I was walking, as I say, when I walk around everywhere, I don't have a car or anything. So these walks are the most memorable times for me, because when I walk, I love it, because that's the only time where I don't have to do any work, like doing any brain work basically. That's the only time my brain is free. Let's imagine the most imaginative things. Like thinking about, like making myself a hero basically. Like, oh, the monster, not monsters, silly, it's like bad guys or something, and you're like the hero that's saving the people or stuff like that, little thing. Maybe I'm winning the Nobel Prize, one of my ambitions, for example, and little things like that. So these walks are the best, and I see that I got off topic. What was the question again? Oh, I'm going to the past, the future, yes. So, sorry. So one of these walks, I realized that the sad truth is that we always look back to the past. I always look back to the Linguistic Society. Oh, that's the best time ever. And I know I got an invitation to lead it again, but that's this feeling in me that tells me I'm not going to enjoy it as much as I will, because the same group of people will not be there. We'll never be satisfied unless the exact same circumstances happen, which is impossible. So I just want to go back to the past to relive it. That's all. I'm not going to change anything. I just want to relive it. That's all.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Sounds like a job interview question. Where do I see myself in 10 years? What I tell my job interviewers is I'm going to be working for their company, being successful, but what I see myself in 10 years. I don't know, I'm quite, in a sense, I see myself being quite free. I want to win the Nobel Prize, to be someone, be notable, be in the news for a good thing, be in the news, do contributing, definitely being in a group of good people, like, for example, society. Because in student life, it's easy to make a society, but when you're working, I think it's impossible, almost impossible to do something like this anymore. So I feel like ever since I'm working now, I feel it's quite lonely, to be honest. You're not having fun meeting new people every time. Even if you do meet new people, you're just talking about, hey, you want to buy my product? So it's a bit business-like. I want to be in this carefree moment again. So I see myself having a charity, like leading a charity. It could be anything. Like Linguistic Society is not my passion, but it's just because it has the potential to let me to have people. So maybe I'll just make a charity on the environment, on making a small group, or maybe talking about, let's say, Japanese comics, and it'll be nice to be one of my favorite things. So things that I'm passionate about that I can talk about and people enjoy as well. It's my future, hopefully.
So yeah, I have one question that
Okay.
actually, like, you seem to be really self-aware of your emotion, and so how do you deal with your hard times or sadness?
That's a good question, because it does happen. I mean, people always see your cheerful side, but very rarely do people see the things that you actually go through. When I came to uni, I didn't have much of these issues. Maybe the only worries I had was, oh no, I'm going to be spending a lot of my parents' money, but I feel justified because I'm going to be successful, bring back the money to them, whatever. But I think this actually occurred much more recently in second year, when I started to fall in love with the city, started falling in love with the place because of all the people I start meeting. I'm going to go a bit long-winded now, but in my high school years, I tend to think of uni and college like a train station. So in your high school, you go to the train station, you stop there, you meet the new people, but you don't actually know them all along. You just talk to them, you learn from their experiences, but you take the train and you leave the place. And then you go to university, the same thing, a longer train station, a longer transition, but the same thing, you meet the new people, you don't get too involved, and then you leave to your final destination, which is your work. But it started to change when in second year I met a lot of amazing people, and these people are following me on the train, following the analogy. And then you start to realize that they're going to leave the train at some point in the final stop. So that's when it gets very depressing. You feel, oh, you're not going to, this happy moment, you're never going to relive it again. And especially even more so when I had a girlfriend, and she was from a different country in Romania, and there's more pressure to even get a job here now, because if we don't, like, going back to our own country is going separate ways. I think that's a nightmare for anyone with a long-term relationship. And that built up to quite a lot, I guess. And at some points, the worst part of these sort of things is not the fact that you're thinking, oh no, that's going to happen, but you start imagining the worst case scenarios, like, how am I going to live in that scenario? How are you going to live going back from heaven? Like, I'm not saying that the place that I'm from is terrible or whatever, it's a lovely place, but now you get a taste of something better. You feel like you want to live here forever or something, and it feels bad to go back. Most of the time, I guess, I just had to let it be for one day, and then it will just disappear. I can't give a really good advice on this sad behavior. I can just tell that everyone faces that. Most people face issues like that. I'd say even the people who looks like they're most amazing, the most cheerful people, I'm sure they face things like that, maybe even more so. The more emotional they are, I feel like the more they'll think about that and the more depressed they will be. It helps that you have friends to talk to, especially people, your girlfriend and my girlfriend, sorry. And I don't know, I think it's different for me as well. I don't really talk to my parents about this. I'm not sure. I feel like it's a bit awkward to talk to your parents about this, so I can't really confide this to my parents. If I can, I mean, it's not a problem, but I just feel like it's a bit awkward. Try to justify it more. I realize getting distracted trying to get yourself distracted doesn't work at all. Try to watch a movie, your brain just goes back to that thought again and again. The best way is to sleep on it, I guess. That's the only thing I can think of, sleeping on it, or maybe just try justifying it. One thing that seems to be the best thing is to try to accept the worst case scenario as early as possible. Just look at the best parts of the other scenario that you're not looking forward to and see it's not that bad actually, that future. You can still build your life there. For example, I say that I might not, the worst case scenario is I might break up with my girlfriend and leave this beautiful place, leave these beautiful people. That's the sad part, because if I stay here, I can still perhaps see most of my friends and go back to my country. It's going to be hard to come back all the way here just to see a few people and go back there. So I live with that fact. But I justify it by saying, okay, you know what, even if I'm here, most people will be going somewhere else, and let's be realistic, how many of your college friends do you ever continue talking to even? So maybe doing that, I will just have a different perspective. So, and then you start thinking, okay, maybe when I go back to my country, it's probably easier as well to get a job. Maybe it's easier for me to be successful, to get, there's always opportunities everywhere. There's always a silver lining, and you just have to exaggerate that silver lining at these scenarios, and then go back to the real world. Yeah, that's about it.
So you mentioned successful a lot. So successful means happiness to you, or? Happiness,
happiness. Every single birthday, I say, make a wish, Eugene. I want to be happy. Because I feel like if you're happy, isn't that everything you want? Why do you want to get a car? Why do you want to get a new thing? You just want to be happy at the end. So just wish for the final end goal, to be happy. That's my success, to be happy.
Before we end this, would you like to tell us a bit about, so you're studying chemical engineering right now, so neither Perry or I know much about chemical engineering, but maybe someone who's watching this would know something about that. So what are your interests in that area?
In chemical engineering, it's quite a wide course actually. The reason why I chose that is because of the scientific part of it, and also the fact that it's a good career prospects. You get a lot of companies to hire you. I mean, that's the idea. And I think everyone who chose the course chose it for that reason as well, because you get quite good pay and all. But I think one good thing is that you get to go to so many places. Let's say if I go to finance, for example, it's not easy for you to go into engineering. But of course, people who go finance, they are really passionate about that, and I respect them for it. For people who are on the fence, like me, who are not really don't know what you want to do in the future. So if you go engineering, it's quite easy. You can go to finance and whatever, because you learn economics there, you learn technology things there. And after learning chemical engineering, I found myself less interested in the more physical part, like chemistry or what, but more into the technology side, the latest technology. And I think it's a good start for people who don't have an idea of what they want to be, but they still want to be quite successful in the future to get some money. So that's perhaps the best choice if you want to go for it. You have to put a lot of work into it, that's all.
Last thing, before we end this, do you have any advice for anyone who's watching? What piece of advice would you give to people in general, to the world?
I always tell people, one or two friends, I don't make it sound like a whole audience, but anyway, I would say it's better to regret doing something than to regret not doing it. That's my advice. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Right.